If you love bourbon, if you love whiskey, you're going to love these conversations. So make sure you subscribe to the Bourbon Lens starting now. If you love bourbon, if you love whiskey, you're going to love these conversations. So make sure you subscribe to the Bourbon Lens starting now. Welcome back to another episode of the Bourbon Lens with your hosts, Jake and Scott. In this week's episode, we're talking finished whiskeys for winter. So sit back and buckle into the latest episode of the Bourbon Lens. Scott, we're talking about your favorite thing this week. Not Kentucky bourbon. It's finished whiskeys. I know that's probably not your favorite, but, hyperbole is one of my strong suits here.
Some of them can win me over.
So it's the wild, wild west of 2026, some of 2025 that we're going to be bringing forward here as we talk about winter. It has been cold. It has been balmy. And we're not going to hash that out because we're thinking about better weather as we move forward here. But that doesn't mean that we don't have certain finishes that may kind of bubble up for us in the wintertime that may hit or strike a chord with us. So we'll talk about that here as we dive in. But we are a month into 26. And we talked a little bit about this 2 weeks ago on the podcast about our aspirations for 26. How are those going? You taking better care of yourself like you?
Doing my best. I think it's the mental strain of 2026 so far has been the challenging thing.
Yeah, I can hear that with all the NTI and no school and all that fun stuff. And this is my first soiree into that. So cheers to all the parents that have been doing that for multiple years, maybe 12.
Yeah. The 2020 NTI apocalypse it was a little bit of that, what I had like flashbacks to whenever the boys were home with NTI,
But
lunch
you
breaks.
had two of them this time.
Yeah, that was interesting. And fortunately, their stuff was not at the same time. So, I could get one of them logged on and to do something and then deal with the other and then get the other one a snack and vice versa. It seemed like that was everything.
And you tried to do your job.
I did a pretty kick-ass job, I must admit. It was it's like juggling in the circus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I told Lauren Jameson was going to school Hard Knocks, and they were like, my mom and Lauren were like, I guess I'm taking off, or I guess I'm coming over, and I'm like, no, easy killer. The best thing was so they had about kindergarten's got like an hour and a half worth of work. It's not a ton. It's like 20 minutes of language arts, 30 minutes of math, and you're done. Jameson woke up at 7:15 and he would do it before 8 o'clock.
You're like, no, I need you to do it later.
Well, it just made it great. So like anytime I had free time, he's like, hey, you want to wrestle? You want to play video games? You want to do whatever? So like I would take 30, 40 minutes out of the day and I would just tell my boss straight up, like, I got to hang out with my kid from time to time. So we would play Fortnite for 30 minutes and then we would wrestle for 30 minutes. So we got a lot of good time. And the hardest part was getting him to eat. He didn't want to eat. He was just like lounging around, like laid back on the bed, watching YouTube videos. Like
it was snack hour for my boys. It was like, can we get a snack? I'm like, oh, not again.
At least you got a house and home.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's not bread and milk. It's everything else.
It's the true snacks, but yeah, we did well to stock up in advance.
I hear you. So I have not started reading any books yet. So I need someone to hold me accountable to that. I need to pick my first book. That's the thing. I got to get over the hump. I got to pick my first book.
I just started reading my first book. Yeah, recently. It's called Jungle Keeper by Paul Rosalie. And it's about the Amazon rainforest in Peru and the Peruvian jungle. But yeah, so I'm listening to it on audiobook and also reading it when I find that time. But the hour-long car ride today home from work gave me an hour of reading time. So
it will knock quite a bit out then.
Yeah, about a tenth of the book because I think it's 10 hours of audio.
That's not terrible. I was thinking about reading, there's this book called Wild at Heart. It's about raising men, like as a father. So I think I'm gonna start there. I've had it recommended to me by like people in my church, but also like people just around. They're like, if you want to learn how to like raise boys, like this is a great time. And I don't know if you all have a color chart at Bates. We have a color chart at Farmer, and we got our first red today. Yeah. They're like, he touches people, and I'm like, he's a boy, like just
Can't keep his hands to himself.
and I'm like, is he punching anybody? They're like, I'm like, does it hurt anybody? And they're like, no. And I'm like,
Yeah, Lucas was doing that during his basketball practice the other day. Was like him and some kid were like making faces at each other, and then all of a sudden their hands were on each other, and I was like, oh my God, they're gonna get in a fight. But it wasn't. It was just playtime. But yeah, it's fortunately, well, I mean, Liam, if he ever got red, he'd be devastated.
I know that kid would be so sad.
Yeah, that would be like the end of his world if he got red. Lucas, I can see him getting on red a couple times, but he's not yet. So, but he's apparently a different kid at school because the teacher's assistant like always comments to us like he's always so mild mannered, and I'm like, where is that kid at home?
See, we have the exact opposite experience. Jameson is the mild mannered kid at home, and he'll kind of follow instructions and do what we ask him to do. And at school, apparently, it's like all hell breaks loose.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot of sitting time for a kid that every kid has attention issues. So it's like they just need to burn the energy.
Well, and I'm not saying that my kid's special by any means, but you've seen Jameson. He is not the average kindergartner from a size and scalability perspective.
Third grader.
I could put him next to Liam, and people might get them confused about the same grade. Jameson's short for his age. That's what they would say, probably.
Yeah.
The only thing Lucas has a leg up on him is how many teeth he's lost.
Everyone in his freaking mouth. I think he's lost 8 or 9 teeth. I'm like, you're 6. It's like, yeah, I bet.
Jameson's got little small teeth. They're going to fall out. I'm never going to notice.
I mean, we were at a birthday party for Lucas with one of his friends over the summer, and it was like he came up to me like holding a tooth in his mouth or in his hand. And I was like, where the hell did that come from? And he's like, oh, I don't know. He was trying to blow up a balloon or something, and it got caught and it popped it out. And I'm like, what? He's been going, and apparently they're pretty impressed with how well he's brushing his teeth. So pats on the back for us.
That's all that matters. So apparently I'm starting to understand this. I don't know. This is, we have not talked about whiskey yet, but I'm just going to go on another side. So apparently as men get older, apparently their hygiene gets really bad. So I hear that from a lot of older women. They don't shower. They don't bathe. My son hates to shower, hates to brush his teeth. And it's like, dude, your breath is terrible. Go brush your teeth for the love of God. And all that is holy. No one wants to smell that. I'm like, if you want the cute little girl in kindergarten to like think you're cute, you don't want to breathe on her and then just make her faint.
Yeah. It's a self-awareness issue too. It's like they get all hot and sweaty playing basketball or sports or football or soccer or whatever. And it's like the worst thing in the world. You're like, you're going to take a shower. And you're like, what do you mean? I'm like, literally covered in sweat and dirt. Yes.
Well, it is what it is.
It's funny.
I will say, boys being boys, I'm all for it. Let it rip. Because you know what? You got to raise lions. This world's crazy, and they'll eat you up real quick. So definitely going to raise a kid that is literally. I think about this question all the time to myself, and this is probably going to go long, but I'm pontificating here. But like, if Jameson is 3 things, if he is loving and respectful, if he is a protector to his wife one day, and he is, just articulate in what he's trying to communicate. If he is those 3 things, good.
You won.
One. That's all I want. I'm not asking him to like be a gazillionaire. I'm not asking him to be a professional athlete. I just want him to be a decent human being.
Yeah. Don't be an asshole.
But anywho, let's talk about whiskey. So when you think about winter, there's certain notes. We're going to foreshadow an episode where we talk about cask strength and non-finished whiskey, but there's certain finishes that I think exude winter when it comes to that. In my personal opinion, when you think about that, what finishes might kind of come to the forefront for you for winter flavors?
Well, admittedly, like one that I was always skeptical of was the maple cask, because I feel like maple cask kind of like not blew up, but like got more popular after honey did. And like honey finishes became flavored whiskey. I mean, they were so potent. It was like, how much honey did you leave in that barrel before you bottled that? Like, you could literally see the honey settling in the bottle. So I was thinking like the maple syrup, the maple cask. Like originally I was like, oh, okay, this is just, it's maple flavored whiskey. But like, it seems like they've found a way to like do it right and not overpower the whiskey, which is what I've always been kind of afraid of with a lot of finishes. It's just like, it's too much. I don't need a lot. I want to like elevate what's there.
Yeah. So two things kind of come to mind when I think of maple, right? Like one is like Decadent kind of came on the scene as one of the first one to kind of like bring maple finishes to the forefront. And then they had the maple syrup, right? They took the bourbon barrel and they put maple syrup in it. And that was kind of cool when Brandon Collins was there. Shout out to Brandon. And then for Kentucky Bourbon Festival, Chase Hazelbaker comes out of left field, maple brulee casks at Nulu. And like that became the talk of the town, maple brulee casks at Nulu. Like that bottle sold out. I didn't even get to try it. Like it just went through the roof. And then all of a sudden, maple brulee at Hard Truth, maple brulee at Rabbit Hole with their sucralay. Like, and I do like the idea of the maple brulee. Put the finish a maple in that and then toast that sucker, like, and getting that sucrose on there, that sugar to brew, and then putting the whiskey in there. It's like it's a new recharring. Like, I really love that idea. But then you have the Jack Daniel's, is it table syrup?
Yeah, table syrup, which is not maple, but it does have a little bit of like, the maple notes. But yeah, it's the distillery series, which it's the 375, the sampler type bottles. Just released in winter 2025. Limited edition Tennessee rye. So it's again, Jack Daniel's is doing a lot more than just their Tennessee whiskey, which is the rye. Obviously, we have a special place in our heart for their Tennessee rye. They treated us to a hell of a week,
and people took a lot of losses in cornhole that week. That's all I want to let everybody know.
Showed them who was boss.
If there ever wants to be a podcast off with a cornhole tournament, I'm just saying, Scott and I take any takers.
It's like back to the college days.
And I will get better if I finish a whole bottle of Jack Daniel's barrel proof rye whiskey, because that may or may not have happened.
Yeah, but this Jack Daniel's Tennessee rye table syrup, like, I don't know what table syrup is. I think it's probably like a thing of the South. But when I was younger, we never bought maple syrup. We always bought Cairo, which is just corn syrup. But that's what this.
So it's like table syrup, like what you would have at like Waffle House.
Yeah. I mean, it's got a little maple flavor, but it's got a lot of just like sugar, corn syrup,
high fructose.
Yeah, high fructose corn syrup.
That's going to be illegal here soon, but neither here nor there.
Just give me the low fructose corn syrup. That's fine by me too.
Yeah, I don't need the high. I need the low.
Yeah, because it sounds better.
Yeah, we've gone to the zero sugar added syrup at the house. It tastes pretty good, actually, to be honest with you.
I just go with the Kirkland brand Canadian maple syrup.
Honestly,
it's great.
Like, my main girl, I tell Lauren this all the time. I'm like, I'm gonna go get my main girl out of the cabinet. Mrs. Butterworth ain't never treated me wrong in a day in her life, man. She knows. And I tell you what, hot take here: the best pancakes in the city of Louisville, Kentucky, and they're not mine, so I'm not even gonna be like flex like I make the best pancakes, because I definitely don't. The best pancakes in Louisville, Kentucky, are at Cheddar Box 2 in Chenoweth Square. And they put butter in their maple syrup, and like it emulsifies the butter, and you pour it over and you see that butter kind of flow out, and they got powdered sugar on the pancake, and the pancake's like that big, brother. Like, I tell you, it is an experience that is one that you will enjoy for centuries.
Notes, because that Yeah, that sounds great. And I've never been there. So
They
Chenoweth's
also have great biscuits and gravy. The biscuits and gravies are good. I'm not
is sausage gravy.
sausage gravy. Yes.
Yes, that's the only type of
Yeah.
gravy. But yeah,
They do eggs Benny pretty well from the people
not
I
a
know.
fan.
I don't like hollandaise too much.
No, I'm just like, you're covering up the flavor of the egg. Like, I like fried eggs. I like, that's a poached egg, but I just like the yolk, the runny yolk.
Yeah.
And I feel like hollandaise is like, you're just covering.
It's too rich, like, because you're taking really part of the egg to make the hollandaise, like, and then you have to make sure that hollandaise doesn't break, and it's just a whole thing. Anywho,
back to whiskey. We took a detour with the maple syrup, and yeah.
Well, I mean, like, come on, like winter and maple syrup, and just makes me think of like standing out there with my griddle and making some bacon and eggs.
Yeah. So you were talking about Taconic, which made an incredible maple syrup, finished bourbon. But another one from New York, Widow Jane Decadence, which released in 2025. I think it's an annual release.
It is.
But a blend of straight bourbons finished in maple syrup, cask from Crown Maple, New York's own Crown Maple.
Because I think the finish on Decadence is different every year.
Okay, maybe it is. But the one thing I like about this, it's a lower proof. So it's kind of like a session whiskey. It's a little bit easier to drink in, like, like when you drink wine and I'm like, damn, this is going to give me a really bad headache tomorrow. It's kind of like that. I'm like, if I'm drinking high proof and like maple sugar, I'm just asking for a headache. But this is a little bit lower proof, a little bit lighter, but it still packs that maple syrup like punch.
Yeah, I get that. And I'm going to take what you had and kind of go a different direction. So you have a rye whiskey, and I poured the Kentucky Straight Malted rye sherry finish from New Riff. And so I love that Pedro Jimenez, that Oloroso mixed together, blend it all up, and adding that malted rye, which is a very approachable whiskey. If you've not used to rye, Old Potrero is where you start. You finish with New Riff malted rye, and then you go to the sherry finished malted rye whiskey here. In the double layer, like the Pedro Jimenez gives you one thing and the Oloroso gives you another thing, right? This bottle is long gone, unfortunately, but but the Cellar Collection 3 from Angel's Envy, which was the blue label, that was also Oloroso and sherry finish, which was it was a bourbon, but like that Oloroso sherry combination, or the Pedro Jimenez Oloroso combination, is just like really, really good. You can find that in Scotch.
It's like a balancing act. Yeah,
it is. I just love that two combination of sherry. One's a little bit richer, one's a little bit more floral. I just love that balance between those two barrels.
Yeah. I've not had the sherry finished malted rye, but American Single Malt, which a lot of them have the sherry influence, which is just, do we want to call American Single Malt finished? Because some of them are finished. Some of them are, solely aged in a certain cask. Other ones are blended, multiple cask types. I would count that. Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
But just generally, like sherry.
Minden Mill's American Single Malt would be perfect to say, like, that's a perfect winter whiskey.
Yeah. It's just like, it fits into a nice slot in flavor.
It does. And just kind of speaking of New Riff, they actually have a winter whiskey.
That's the chocolate malt, isn't it?
It's a chocolate malt. So instead of doing something with the barrel from a finished perspective, they do something with the flavoring grains. So they malt the flavoring grains, which I think that's an interesting take as well.
Huh. I'm excited to try that New Riff, though.
Don't worry. It's coming your way. I'll see you tomorrow. Yes. The other thing, and I teased this on the podcast that will be coming next week because we recorded these out of order. So everyone, it'll all make sense. One of the finishes, I think, of 2026, which is also a really good winter finish, is Calvados. A lot of people think fall because of the apple, but I think that apple brandy or pear brandy is a very good finish for winter. So I have the Bear Fight. This is Calvados and port.
The Orchard and Vine.
A little Orchard and Vine. Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. I do like this. Again, session for a little bit more sweetness. It's a 90 proof whiskey. So this is kind of fits more our vibe. I paired this with the Normandy from Bardstown Bourbon Company. It just was a little thin to kind of compare the two against each other. But I actually did enjoy this quite a bit. I think Bear Fight is a really interesting brand, buoyed by Gabriel Macht. Shout out to Gabriel and his interview. That is our top watched, I think, top podcast of all time. Which
I don't know. I think Wright Thompson's is still up there.
I think you're right. I think it is. But
yeah, it's definitely up there.
Gabriel has over 5,000 views on YouTube.
Yeah, that's alone. That's crazy. But yeah, so you're saying like the apple element. Apple feels like a wintertime fruit, like apple cider.
Like apple cider, stewed fruit. And then you balance that with the port. Now, it's really interesting. I would love to know where they got the base liquid for this, because there's a ton of corn sweetness that comes through through this. So like, I don't know if this is like IJW whiskey, because like I get a lot of this on the IJW stuff, or is it like younger Beam or Barton, right? Like, because each of those profiles have a quite a bit of sweetness to them. So I don't know what the source is on this from a distillation perspective, but it definitely gives, an interesting balance.
So it is a Kentucky bourbon.
Kentucky straight bourbon.
That's interesting, because aren't they based in North Carolina? You would think that they would hit up their friends down the road at Southern. Yeah. Statesville.
Yeah. So I think the American single malt is from Statesville. I think they were one of the original, like, New Century partnering with them for the American single malt stuff. But they have the tequila finish is Kentucky straight, and the Orchard and Vine is Kentucky straight.
Yeah, I would agree. Like your apple brandy, Calvados, like you said. Calvados is just, for those who don't know, it's just a type of brandy in a particular location, which is Normandy, France. I would say that's a great finish for winter. I don't know. It's just like, I've kind of come around to finished whiskeys, but I still am averse to like heavy-handed finishes.
100%. I think the one that we're not talking about, because it is stout month, just as an aside, here in February, I learned that because someone wanted to send us stout beers. But Westward does a very nice stout finished American single malt.
So good.
So like, I do think stout is a very good winter finish.
Chocolatey, coffee, like hot chocolate, hot cocoa, like mocha.
Mm-hmm.
Those flavors that just kind of like,
that's the only one I could think of that like I just didn't have like kind of on hand, readily available. But I do think that's interesting. And I'm going to go back to the New Riff Winter Whiskey thing here for a second, because I do believe that messing with the grain will be another way that you can create flavor. Like, I think we're almost to the point where we've run out of time, or we've run out of real estate on the finishes. I think you're going to have to go back to playing with the grain.
Yeah, balancing your flavors. Well, I think that, too, I don't think anybody in whiskey can deny the fact that finished whiskey started out as a way to make a boring whiskey more unique. But, people got really, really good at it. So it's like now we can like take flavors in the base whiskey and like elevate them or tweak them or, enhance. It's like kind of like putting salt on a dish. You make a dish and then you add a little salt and it can totally transform it.
As Jonathan Wiseman always says, it needs 10% more salt, 9% more salt. The guy loves his salt on his dish.
Just a touch.
The other finish we haven't talked about is, I think, toasted fits really well into this category. Whether that's Beams toasted, I'm like drawing a blank.
The Winter Reserve.
Winter Reserve, thank you.
Perfect. Perfect name for a winter whiskey.
Perfect name for it. Or you have, like, if you want to go a little more high end, you have Peerless toasted.
Elijah Craig toasted.
Elijah Craig toasted.
They came out with toasted single barrels too, didn't they?
toasted single barrels. They've toasted rye even. I'm actually sitting here thinking about this because we just had them on the podcast. Little toasted ASW.
Yeah, it's just that marshmallow char, a little bit of char, kind of warms you up. If you're just nosing it, it really reminds you of like a little bit of a campfire or, a wood burning stove going.
I do love a good toasted. I guess the last one that I'll say is if you love to go camp in the cold, just go grab you a campfire from High West, because I can't have a podcast without mentioning High West, right?
Or just drink some Lafroy.
Or you can drink some Band-Aid.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Like, we're talking about this, but it's like, what do you reach for when you want to feel a certain way? Right? Like, it's like when you go to the beach, you don't want to drink whiskey. So what do? You drink a fruitier drink, or you pour it over ice, or, make a highball. It's like you want to feel a different atmosphere, I guess you say. So like going back, it's like, I want to feel richer, darker, deeper flavors in the wintertime. Sometimes I want a little punch, something to warm me up, a little bit of spice.
That's good. I mean, I think you're spot on there. Like, we talk about whiskey creating a sense of place to like take you to X, right? Like, I'm drinking this, like, transport me to Isla. Like, that's a really extreme example. Or transport me to Japan. And like, I want to feel like I'm there, the artistry, the blending technique. But sometimes we miss like creating our sense of place here. How do I want to feel at 10 o'clock at night when I'm doing a podcast? Like, do I need to force myself to drink whatever we're drinking? Or do I actually have something different in my glass?
Yeah, it's like, what do you reach for? Just like, how do you make that decision? And I think that's part of like, people are trying to be more intentional with what they're drinking.
Say it louder for the people in the back.
Yeah, I mean, we said that on our looking ahead to 2026. I think that's part of it. It's like, I don't want to waste my time with a whiskey that's just not gonna, like, how many times have you, I mean, we're fortunate because we have, I would say, unlimited whiskey, but like, you pour a whiskey and you're like, this is not it. This is just not it. This is a great whiskey, but I'm just not feeling it.
I mean, I can count literally in the last month how many times I have poured a whiskey, had it out, had a sip, walked away, maybe had a second sip, and then just left it there overnight. It's the last 20 or 30 times. Like, it really is that much. It's like, there's a time and a place. I'm looking at a pot still whiskey to my left. There's a time and a place for pot still whiskey. When I have time to like drive into and think about like the malt and the grain and the like heads, hearts, and tail, like cuts, like and the tails, like that, I want that. But there's also times where I'm just like, just give me like, I know this is column still. I know it's simple, it's smooth. And yes, I know people hate that term smooth, but like, it's just, when I say smooth, like, it's easy to drink. And like, I don't have to think about it, but I just want a good bourbon. I'm going to pour that.
Yeah.
It's like, I poured Hokkaido 2 nights ago and I really love that pour, yet I didn't finish it because like, it was sensory overload for me. Like, I think it's just like, if you're pouring a winter whiskey, we're going to talk about this a little bit more next week in the podcast. Just sit down and relax, enjoy it. Carve out time, because carving out time is the only thing that you're not going to get back. We all have a finite amount of hours that we're alive, and take 20, 38 minutes to do something for yourself every day, whether it's enjoy a whiskey, smoke a cigar, read a book, read a Bible, read a whatever. Like, take 30 minutes for yourself and enrich those senses and get connected, because I think that's something that we miss. And sit in silence, because silence is good.
A lot of noise out there.
So we'll leave you with that. Let us know what your favorite finishes are for your winter whiskeys? Is it toasted? Is it maple? Is it Calvados? Is it something else? We'd love to know. So in the comments below, or shoot us an email always. We'd love to connect with you all, and we'll catch you next time. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Bourbon Lens. If you want more exclusive content, go over to patreon.com/Bourbon Lens and join our growing community. If you just want to stay friendly with us, you can go over to Instagram, X, and Facebook and follow us there. Also, our YouTube page is growing and we're producing more content there, like Thursday Thoughts and 5-Minute Fridays. So don't forget to smash the subscribe button and catch all the content that we are producing every week. And until next time, cheers. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Bourbon Lens. If you want more exclusive content, go over to patreon.com/Bourbon Lens and join our growing community. If you just want to stay friendly with us, you can go over to Instagram, X, and Facebook and follow us there. Also, our YouTube page is growing and we're producing more content there, like Thursday Thoughts and 5-Minute Fridays. So don't forget to smash the subscribe button and catch all the content that we are producing every week. And until next time, cheers.